New Jersey Open Publics Act. Adequate notice of this meeting was properly provided by transmitting the notice of the meeting for publication in the Asbury Park Press and the Star Ledger on January 5th, 2024. Notice of this meeting of the governing body has been posted in the corridor of the municipal building and in the office of the municipal clerk. Roll call.
Councilmember Anfield?
Yeah, here.
Councilmember Condos?
Here.
Councilmember Connor?
Here.
Councilmember Kraft?
Here.
Councilmember Rotunda?
Here.
Council President Wilk?
Here.
Mayor Peterson?
Excused.
Thank you.
We're going to introduce the, for a public information budget work session for this evening. That'll be the first item, item number 4. Bill, Joyce.
And you have some copies here? You want one?
I like that too.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I'd like to introduce Joyce. She's our Chief Financial Officer, and everyone knows Bill.
This is our 2024 municipal budget workshop presented by council. It was put together by the finance team, finance committee, which is Bill, Joe, and Jerry, myself, and Karen, who's not here today. This is just preliminary numbers. We're going to try to stay as close to these numbers as we can, but we don't have actual school taxes, regional school taxes, or county taxes yet. We should be able to get school taxes by the end of April, beginning of May, is when they adopt.
However, we did get a letter from the Central Regional School, the business administrator, which indicated, depending upon how that vote goes, for the section of Seaside Heights, and joining, Thomas River as opposed to staying with Central Regional. That gets voted down by either, that's on April 16th, that gets voted down by either Thomas River or Seaside Heights. And Seaside Heights stays with Central Regional. The forecast would be that the Central Regional school tax would come down 4.5 cents. If they do elect to succeed, the school taxes will still come down to only by 1.3 cents.
Similar to last year, we had some budget hurdles that we needed to overcome. The increased cost of insurance, general liability, workers' comp, property insurance, pensions, general expenses with the cost of living, and meeting and exceeding our revenues that were projected. Employee group health insurance, last year it was $870,000. This year it's dropped to $800,000 because effective May 1st, the borough has terminated their agreement with the state health benefits program, and have secured coverage with the Central Jersey Health Insurance Fund, which is similar to our JIF, the Joint Insurance Fund. I know that it's gone to the unions and, basically May 1 is what it's going to be. And it saved us money, and it saves the employees money as well, because the contribution rates are less. This Chapter 78 contribution percentages stay the same. The actual annual number that they're basing those percentages on come down. So it saves us money, and it saves the employee money, and it's comparable coverage. It's, instead of Horizon Blue Cross, it's Aetna. So that's basically it. Next.
Just wanted to mention that the state healthcare is kind of out of control, I'll say. They're like $2 million in the hole, and you could see what the trend was. It was continually going up. So by switching, not only do we drop the cost, but the projected forward cost is much less as well. I mean, with the state, it's always open-ended what you're going to get the very next year.
And it's not just based on our claims, it's based on claims for the entire state.
Right.
Versus the Central Jersey HIF, which is based on our claims and what we actually, expend on claims. Do you have a question?
Are they committed just to 1 year?
No. For the HIF?
I'm not, for
No,
the
it's-
insurance. In other words, it's for 1 year we're paying this.
Yes, that's the 1 year
Yes,
cost,
yes.
yes.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, we didn't sign a contract for 2 or 3 years with them.
Because our rates don't go up for 3 years, and it's based on our experience.
I think that we sign a long-term contract, though, to be part of that. That's
Oh,
your
yeah.
question? I don't think you're
Yes.
really,
We can leave.
you can
it
leave, you're not,
If we want. We're
I mean,
not.
you're not locked in,
Yeah,
but
not
you wouldn't go back to the other one that's pretty much
Out of
going
control.
belly up,
Right.
right? But you're
I was just
not
wondering
committed.
if to get this rate, did you have to say?
Oh, no.
We're gonna be with
No.
you?
No,
No.
it was based on prior claims records and the current state of that health insurance fund.
Okay, thank you.
Plus your experience after, I believe it's 3 years.
Mhm.
If it's good,
Right.
you could actually get a decrease of like 2.5%.
Right.
And I think, I can't remember the number, but it never goes up more than a certain percent.
Yeah.
Yes, it
Yeah,
does.
if you got a bad experience.
Exactly.
It's 2.5%.
Yeah.
It's there, this one.
No, you need to go back to PFR.
Using my controls here.
There it is.
Okay, here we go. All right.
Okay, so the police and fire pension system went up $14,231 over last year. These are expenses that are out of our control, and this is based on the number of employees and salaries from 2 years ago. So they use the experience from 2 years ago. So we won't have what our employees now and what they're making will hit in 2026. So they're always 2 years behind on the police and fire and on the public employees. The public employees went up $26,200 over 2023. Yes.
We don't have all these.
Yeah, they can miss every other one.
Yeah, so is it only print?
Did it only print the front and not the back?
Well, if we could get one, I guess, I don't think we could print it. No. You want us to turn that more?
Can we turn the screen a little more and then you don't have to look at the back? Can you see the screen everywhere? I'm sorry. The next is general liability, property, and workers' compensation. This has, for the past 2 years, general liability and workers' comp has increased dramatically. Actually, general liability went down by $9,300. Workers' compensation went up $108,000, and property insurance went up by $23,000, which resulted in a $122,000 increase over last year. Now I'm going to talk about the budget process. I think everybody knows the budget process. So in October, November, we send out requests to the department heads. They tell us what they need, and then we take that information, Karen and I take that information, we bring it to the finance committee, and then they go through line by line and choose what they want, what they don't want, to formulate this year's budget. We're also asking the departments for capital improvement projects that they're looking at. And the results of that is what will be introduced at the April 4th meeting. It takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of people. It's not just me, it's not just Karen, it's not just Bill. It's all the department heads, it's everybody that comes together to put this budget together. And then, the objectives, we want to try to keep things as low as possible. Review all the operating expenses, decide where we need to spend more money, where we could spend less money, things like that. I will say that for one of the ladies that took over paying bills, she looked at the Verizon bills. No, I'm sorry. She looked at all the JCP&L bills. And on the JCP&L bills, there was a third-party energy company that was being paid by us. So she called them and said, what is this? Why are we paying this? And they said, well, you didn't pick an energy provider back. I don't know if you guys remember a couple of years ago, they wanted you to pick Green Mountain was one of them, there were some others. So they assigned one to us. Well, she told them that we don't want that. We don't want to have a third party. And they said, okay, well, we'll refund your money. And she got us $20,000. So I think that was great. I mean, this is what she's doing. She's going through all the bills, looking to see where we can save money. They just save money with the cell phone bills, switch from Android to iPhones, you know. So we are looking at ways to cut costs and save money all the time.
I mean, not only did she get money back, but going forward, we had that much less of a bill.
Yeah.
So we cut the bill going forward as well.
These are the levy changes per assessed value for the 2024 versus the 2023 budget. So as you can see, based on your assessment, the local tax for this year versus the local tax last year, the total annual increase for all taxes, that's county, school, and municipal, for the average assessed value of $500,000, it comes out to be $221.27 a year more that you would be paying.
Is there a way some of the lights could be, because we don't have that, and it's very hard to see the road here. Lights.
We can turn a couple rows on. Do the last row too.
First, how do you know when the switch is? You know what?
Got our key.
Oh,
Key on the
Have them moving up to the front.
huh?
Have them moving up to the front.
You like to move up to the front also.
Yeah, there's
You
plenty
can
of
move the chairs if you like.
This is like church, you can go up front.
It's fine up here, we shower today and everything. Every other Thursday. I think that's good. Yeah?
We do this one?
Huh?
Thanks, Jim.
Don't fall asleep.
Thank you, Jim.
I was just gonna say.
Get onto the keys, we'll need to turn them back on.
There's, this one, that one's got all the sheets.
I waited, I could read off the street.
Turn on the keys, we'll need to turn them back on.
These are the rates, the average residential value of 568 times the total levy of 1.685 as a total tax, that's annual tax, for everything of 9581.95. For us, 1 penny is equal to 117,000, and for this year, we were able to stay under the levy cap by 37,000. That's that 2% levy cap, we have a 3.5% appropriation, and the 2% levy cap. And that will go in our bank, so we can use that, part of that next year.
Excuse me, so what you're saying is for every 117,000 and change of assessed value, it's going up 1 cent or?
That's 1 cent, that's the equivalent of 1 cent. So on that slide for the liability and the workers' comp insurance, where it was 122,000, that's equal to 1 penny of an increase.
So what percent of increase, or what amount for the assessed value of 500? It's $200.
A year.
Like 7%.
221.27.
221,
If
something.
the assessed value is 500,000, it would go up $221.27.
That's for our portion. For the schools and everything else, it's going to be 380.83 a year. That's everything.
So the average home of $500,000, their tax bill will go up $383.
380.83. That's for everything. That's the total taxes.
But the far column is what we control.
Yeah.
You know, I get that.
And now that could go up or down depending on how the school taxes come out and the county taxes come out.
Understood.
I mean, I think you had somewhere in here that this was based on a 2% increase.
For schools and 6 for the county. Now, I did read in Asbury Park Press, they said they were going down 2 cents, but they said that last year.
And they went up a lot.
So,
Does the county have a cap on an increase?
they have a cap like you do too.
And what is it?
I don't know. I can find out for you if you'd like, but that's, yeah, that's what we can estimate when we put our budget together for county taxes.
You know, if it goes down and school comes down, then that
Yeah.
changes drastically. What the big changes drastically.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Faye?
Yeah, I have a question on that slide.
This slide?
Yeah, that was up before. Municipal tax percentage is up 7.5?
Yes, it's a 4.4 cent increase for $100.
Aren't you going 2%?
Yes, that's over there's a whole bunch of things that go into that 2% that get reduced from that 7.5%. The 7.5% isn't the levy cap per se. I wish I could explain it better.
There's some things when you calculate the 2%, a lot of things aren't allowed to be put into that calculation.
So there's things that are excluded from the cap levy, such as those increases for the insurance,
Workman's comp.
workers' comp, landfill, garbage, recycling, they all come off because the state realizes that we don't have control over those, so they let us take those out of the levy cap. And this is basically the same thing. The overall budget includes the schools and county.
And counties, you know, there's multi-items, there's a piece for the library, a piece for the health, and even open space. So, you know, little different line items, ever look at the tax code, you know, each one is called out.
And this is again is the estimate for 6 for the county, the 2 for the schools, and this is the tax rate breakdown of cost out of the whole.
Any questions?
Yeah, can you relate the colors? The colors are a little hard to read.
So the borough is the
Borough is the red.
Yeah, 37.
The little green slice is the local school. This one here, the blue, is the regional schools, and this is the county.
Okay.
And this basically says, state funding program is based on the ability to pay. I know that the state school funding calculation has been all over the news lately. I think, not that it affects Seaside Court, but the governor told Tom River to close one of every school. How do you just close a school? I don't understand that, but, it's all influenced by the state funding formula. The formula is based on the equalization of value and the student enrollment. We may pay a higher portion of central regional budget than other towns because of our higher values. And also, like we said before, we have no control. We can just, vent our frustrations with their budgets. And this is our 2024 budget. This is just the municipality. It doesn't include the schools, county, or open schools. So, it's all about surplus and fund balance. This year, we ended in the black by $2,080,000, and this is just on the general fund, not water and not marina. This is just the general fund. We have a balance at the end of the year, $2,085,533, of which we can use a portion of that. I don't know if you can see 2023, but last year we used 2.1 million, which was 78% of our surplus. The year before we used 68%. This year we're using 70. I'm trying to get the borough surplus back up, so that we have a little bit, I don't want to call it a slush fund because it's not a slush fund, but just a little bit extra that we can use to lower taxes by using our surplus. In case we have a not great summer and beach revenues are down and stuff like that we have a piggy bank that we can pull some funds from. Last year we left it at, I think, 500,000. This year we're leaving it at 636. Not a lot, but just a little to build, a little at a time.
Is the limit on surplus in dollar amounts or percentage?
There's no limit on surplus. The state wants us to use all our surplus, to have nothing left for a rainy day. But we can use 100% of that surplus.
Let that be there.
Use a little bit more to bring the taxes down.
Bill, maybe you want to explain our rating, our bond rating by doing what we're doing?
Yeah, it affects the fund.
Yeah.
Yes, when you have a healthy surplus, or a healthy surplus, or,
Fund balance. Fund balance.
fund balance. In fact, we just last week went out to Moody's to get a bond rating for the bonds that will be acquiring mid-April. So we had that video conference, I believe it was on Thursday. And as a result of our healthy condition financially, the Moody's have upgraded our bond rating from a AA3 to AA2. So by having a better bond rating, it gives you lower interest usually when you go out to borrow.
And a bigger pool of investors.
Yes,
And a bigger
more
pool.
people are interested.
Absolutely. It's less of a risk for them when you.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a more attractive.
Yes.
Acquisition.
So this is the assessed value impact. We went up $6,869,000. That's new construction, added assessments, things like that. It has a minimal effect on the tax rate, and we did receive notification from the county that we may have to do a reval in the near future.
Yeah, but we got a letter, November 4th or 6th of last year, and the language that was in that letter made it almost seem definite that it was going to happen this year.
Yeah.
Is a reeval the same as a reassessment?
It's the same thing. When they come and they look at your property, and the further away you get from 100% of market value, they're gonna come looking. The county's gonna come looking. You know, with the market the way it is and how houses boomed in the last 2 years since COVID.
But they come on scrambled with water.
Yeah.
And the town has the option of, and the only reason I asked is because I saw the Heights has to do the reeval. They've hired their own firm, I guess. I don't think you can hire your own people to do that. They've hired their own firm as opposed to what, a county-selected firm? How does that work?
No, the municipality can pick whoever they want to do their reval. They go out to bid to see who's going to give us the best, rates and things like that. And I will tell you that when they do the reval, you do have the ability to appeal that value with no cost. It's not like when you try to do an appeal during, I think it's in April that you can appeal your taxes. During the reval, you can meet with them and you can appeal that valuation at that time, free of charge. You meet with the appraiser and, you tell him why you think that I did it when they did my reval, and they actually had one less bedroom and one less bathroom, and I said, okay, never mind, I agree with this, because then if they knew I had 4 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms, they were gonna say, oh, well, you're gonna go even higher. So I was like, oh, nope, this is fine, we're good. But that may or may not be coming soon, but you do have the ability to appeal that for free.
A question about the chart. You have items on the left side, you have items on the right side. They are not the same.
Nope.
What's the difference?
So these are the property types. So vacant land, residential, commercial, apartment. We had 37, 1951, and 2024. So vacant land went down in value from 2023.
All right, I understand that.
Okay?
Two separate things.
It's just a comparison of what those values were in 2024 versus 2023. Okay, we talked about this a lot. We're just trying to do the best we can with what we can, with the expenses that we have, and the things that we need to plan for in the future for capital items and things like that. Cost of goods, salaries and expenses, those are union-based. Salaries, there's 3 unions, and they meet, with people, the Karen or the business administrator, to get their what they want to be paid. So that's that. We do not have a new contract for the police coming out till 2025, is that right? Police, 2025, we're good?
Sure.
Yeah, I think it's right. And then Public Works is till 2026, so you don't have to worry about anything with that. Okay. These are the results of our revenues from last year, from 2023. So we anticipated 2.6 million in local revenues, and we made 3.1 million. Energy receipts tax, that's that gas tax that they took from municipalities, and now they're giving back in dribs and drabs. UCC fees were down from what was projected, and we received more in grants than what we anticipated, but that's good, because during the year, we're looking to get more grants, trying to get as many grants as possible. And so there's your difference in your revenues. This year, we were anticipating 12.896. Last year, we anticipated 12.307.
I guess the surplus anticipated for 2024, I guess that's a typo there.
Which one?
24.
Oh. Yes.
So the more grants we get could potentially add to the surplus
Yes.
because it's unbudgeted for.
Well, but grants lower our expenses, because when we get a grant, say we get a $100,000 grant, we have to bring it in as revenue as $100,000, and then we have to expend it as $100,000. So it's kind of a wash and in and an out.
Yeah, but at the end of the year, you have money left over.
Because we didn't have to pay out of pocket for it, yes, exactly. Yep. And these are the 2024 appropriations. Salary and wages, 5.2 million. General liability, group insurance, workers' comp, other insurance, that's like the firefighter insurance and flood insurance. Waivers are when the employees don't take health care. Utilities, we're saving money. Part of it is that $20,000, but also our utilities haven't been as high. So I lowered them to what we actually spent last year. PERS and PFRS we've gone over. Social Security, that's our 7.65%. And then other operating expenses, which is, anything that's not included here, office supplies, copy machines, things like that. And a bunch of other things, but we lowered those this year too. These are the shared services that we were able to get, that we've been using. The Heights Transportation, Berkeley Township Animal Control, the Ocean County Animal Shelter, Schedule C, which is road materials and paving that Public Works uses. 911 dispatch did not go up this year, it stayed the same. We have the firearms range. The court administrator, the CFO, me, you see, I only went up a little bit. Because I took a lower insurance. And then we have grants this year, we've already taken in $374,000. One of those was an NJDOT grant. Capital improvement plan, that's what we plan on spending for down payments and paying for projects. And then debt service went down a little bit this year. And the total operations excluded from caps is 1.9 million. And total general appropriations matched the revenues, which is 12.898. Yes?
What is debt service?
That's our debt. That's what we pay for the notes that we've taken out, money that we've borrowed.
Interesting principle.
Where is the marina income listed?
That's on it, we're gonna get there. This is basically current fund, which is the meat and potatoes of your taxes. It is your taxes.
So we paid Ocean County for the dispatch $183,000?
Yes.
That's the rate we've been paying.
Mhm. Yeah.
And then we keep it in a
Absolutely.
We share with Level the court administrator.
Mhm.
Now, our share is 61,000.
Yes.
Whoever that administrator is making over 100.
It could be, her healthcare, maybe she had single coverage and now she has family coverage. Could be a number of things, her salary went up.
If we were to have that person like we had in the past at the time, the number would have been double that.
It's not just salary.
Yeah, it's not just salary, it's half the healthcare, half the
Benefits,
pension.
it's everything, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, when you look at that number for me, I do not make that number double. When we do, I do not.
This total other operations excluded from caps, is that 2% cap that was?
No, there's a 3.5% appropriation cap, but we're way under on that. On what we could go to versus what we're at. Now we're gonna talk about capital, managing debt and incurring additional debt, minimizing operating expenses and long-term capital programs, which we're gonna go into and show. And this is the same thing, looking at more shared services, try to prepare, have greater transparency like these meetings, and trying to keep operating expenses low. And this is our capital program. We try to forecast, we're required by the state to do a 3-year capital plan every year. It doesn't mean, when you see this list and you go, it doesn't mean that we're going to do all of those projects. These are things that we would like to try to get done in the next 3 years, that council has, pinpointed these things as what we want to get done in the next 3 years.
Yeah, some of these items that are on this list are things that could have been done over the last few years, but because of material, COVID-related issues and, source pipeline, different, the equipment just, wasn't available.
Yeah,
Supply chain was the problem. So now it's coming to roost and we have to address it.
So last year's capital was 322, this year we're at 251,600. For the water utility, the capital improvement fund is 400,800 versus 100,000 last year. And for the marina, 297,800 versus 369. But those are all for projects, they're gonna be fully funded projects for the marina.
For example, one item is one of the marina is going to handle the Fifth Avenue Pier Road. We're going to get that done as well as the lighting at the marina itself.
So here is the project that we are looking at. Scott bottles for the fire department. They're gonna pay for those fully funded. Moby mats will be done for all beach roads this year. So there won't be, every other fourth one, every beach ramp is gonna have a Moby mat.
What's that figure, the Moby mats?
I think it's 101,000.
101, but as capital improvement, we're only gonna use 17.
101,000.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, I thought it was over 100.
Yeah,
Yeah, just
17, right.
it's 101.
Some out of capital and some out of.
So if you see a small number for what you think should be big, that's down payment money. If it's a big number, like the beach rake for 70,000, that's us buying the beach rake outright. The same thing with the parking kiosks, the new parking kiosks, we're gonna buy those outright. The lightning detector that's needed, that 47,000, that's just buying it outright. Not borrowing money, it's just buying it. The rest of it, parking lots 2 and 3, Desert Palm demolition, bayfront improvements, boardwalk reconstruction, Stockton and Lake Avenue, ball-fielded park improvements, J Street improvements, Desert Palm construction, which right now we're looking at a municipal pool. Finger piers, a pool.
It's considered,
Yeah, that's one of the items right now. The finger piers, repairs at the marina, water distribution repairs, fascia repairs for this building, dune replenishment, and dredging the 13th Avenue boat ramp. And these are just the ones that I could fit on here. When you get the budget, you'll see there's a lot.
I don't think we have that sheet. So what is the number on the ballpark improvement?
Right, this is just like a dream list. Doesn't mean that it's gonna happen. It is ballpark, park and ball field, $1 million.
1 million.
doesn't mean it's going to be done.
Yeah.
This is your dream, like a bucket list.
What we have like a.
And we can throw out a lot of stuff in the bucket.
We don't want to replace everything that is.
Was that for the lighting?
No, it was.
Yeah, we should
But it's not a public hearing.
Yeah.
That's okay, it's not the public. What park, is that included in Park Central? Or no? Park Central, is that included in there?
Not on this slide.
So this is the illustrative list based on what each department and the committees submitted, not
Mhm.
necessarily anything that's been
No,
approved,
just 'cause it's on
agreed
there.
to, but it gives you a sense of what those capital projects might be over the next 2 years.
It's like funding
Right.
is not going to improve.
Correct.
Yeah.
Where are the security cameras for?
The buildings.
All the buildings?
It's not just one, it's including the wells,
Yeah.
also the, not Coast Guard station, but the lifeguard station.
I recommend that.
Joe, you probably
Beach
have
beach
that.
control, yeah, they're all, yeah, we have the beach control, police station, it's a security camera, yeah.
Yes, for new ones? I was gonna say, maybe going forward, it might help if some of this stuff is replacement, if that's noted, rather than, for example, did we own the beach rake and we need a new one?
The one we have is very, very old, and it's more costly to repair it.
No, I understand that, but it would help us understand better if we knew some of this was brand new and some of it is to replace, for example, security cameras. I'm sure that the environment chews up anything that's sitting outside, so maybe that could be in the budget thing, it's just an idea.
What's the Seaside now? Something legal?
Street legal vehicle for recreation, so golf, street legal golf cart, for them to go, you can explain that.
We only have one that's street legal that I think Fred Flintstone used back in the day, and the other one is not street legal. So it's desperate, and also we share it, what we share. We use for not only beach control, but also recreation too. So it really hems us in with only one that's, it just does, yeah.
But like I said, this is just like, you know, yeah.
Some are sincerely,
Yes, I
things
can
like
walk
that.
that. If you come with a justification from the 700,000 original proposal that we had been given, and why it might be $1 million now. What is the discussion on that?
I think it's important to know that this is just things we put down to talk about, to have here. Nothing's being done on anything, nothing's cast in concrete, nothing's there. And we've explained that. I mean, it's not like we're gonna go write a check for $1 million tomorrow and have the Yankee show.
Put down because you need a number. Take the 700,000 proposed, which was a good number to begin with, or it's still under, but, and now it's even more.
I mean, they're
Why?
placeholders.
It's not,
It's a placeholder, it's like, it's
Placeholders,
a, it's a
and they're not
placeholder.
like- They're not an exact saying unless they,
Okay.
I mean, this is your preliminary, I think, I mean, that's what we have to go with. It's a preliminary budget, you have to make assumptions in order to know, like, well, what might you spend versus what might you bring in, and then see if you're gonna be able to balance to that. If
Right.
you can't balance to it, you
And
might
also-
cut a whole thing off the list.
Well, I think the struggle here, as I perceive it, I could be wrong, is that when the presentation for the ball field was made and the application for the loan was
I
discussed,
understand.
it was like 700,000 something. Now all of a sudden it's $1 million, like what wasn't the application?
whatever that was.
I don't know.
$1 million. You know, I think that's where the confusion, if you'll call it.
Fine, we'll change it to whatever that number is. And
It all has to go in front of the public as a bond ordinance. You know, before we can do any of these projects, we have to do a bond ordinance. And that's, you know, if you don't like it, that's when you can come up and talk about it. This is just, nothing on this list is gonna happen tomorrow. Nothing on this list could get done in the next 3
Right.
years. It's just, you know, it's just
Isn't that
an
a-
idea of what's been brewing
Yeah.
for the last couple of years.
I think it's just that the ball field touches it.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should.
No, this list is not everything that's on there. This is, but I think most of your stuff is on there. Turnout gear, Scott bottles, what else was there? Oh, that's on there. It's just not on this.
I mean, we got like 3 pages of things,
Yeah.
so, that we did.
And the floor and the garage is on there. Yeah, yeah, no, it's all on there. It
Yeah,
just didn't,
that's on there,
I only had so much room.
yes.
Anybody else?
So, like, I'm a little confused here. Does this affect our taxes, though? I mean, are you putting all this in, and then if we don't use it, the money just gets carried over to the following year? Or can some of this be deleted out?
Oh,
So our taxes-
this would be deleted out. I mean, $14 million for the boardwalk.
Yeah.
You know, we could not do that all at one time. We're not gonna borrow $14 million, because,
So that's not affecting our tax?
no.
This
I mean, we
is-
borrowed it.
If we borrowed.
Only if we did.
That it would?
Yes,
Okay.
but like I said, there's, everything that is done through capital has to be done through a bond ordinance, and there's public hearing on that and everything.
So these are bonds?
Yeah, these are bondable things.
So by the time we get to the presentation on April, whatever, some of this list won't even be there?
Oh, no, it'll still be there.
Oh, it will.
Yeah, the state requires us to put
Yeah.
out 3 years' worth of
Yeah.
everything. Yeah, and if it's not on this list, we can't do it.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Yeah, so we just throw it all against the wall and hope some of it sticks.
Not on this list, but maybe you folks know something that I don't know, that the reserve for the uncollected taxes is like jumping about $500,000 for 2024.
So that's just a placeholder in the budget to have the debits equal the credits. It's not really the uncollected
Well,
taxes.
maybe you know
Yeah,
something about it.
no.
We're usually around 98% collected.
Yeah, I know we have a high rate.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, this is the water utility, finally. Rents for this year versus last year. So this year's budget for the water utility is 3.2 million. Last year it was 3.1 million. I will say that we did better in rents this year because Annie was able to send to tax sale all the people that hadn't paid because they didn't have to pay because of COVID. So when she sent the tax sale notices out, it generated a lot of people like, oh, I gotta pay now. So that helped with the water revenue this year. Salaries and wages, 417, other expenses, 709, capital improvement fund, 400,000, capital outlay, 70,000, payment on bond principal, that went down this year. Interest went up because we have notes, and it's 113,000 on the notes versus 3,200. That's the USDA notes that we have for phase 1, 2, and 3B, which is going to start next. And contribution of PERS, Social Security, and unemployment. So it's a little bit more this year for the budget for the water department. And this is the marina. We're going to use 150 of their surplus this year because they did well this year. Their budget's up to 600,000. Revenue's up to 600, 400 in slip rentals, 50,000 in miscellaneous. Salaries and wages, you'll see that it went up from 47 to 112. That is because we took some employees that worked for not just Public Works, like we'll say the girl that does payroll. She does payroll, she does accounts payable now, she does she posts the revenue for the water, she posts the revenue for the marina. So we split her salary up into the 3 different funds. Same thing with Karen. She's the administrator for the whole borough, so her salary got split up between the 3 budgets. So that's why you're going to see that uptick there, because there's 2 more people that have, a third of their salary. Bond principal's down, interest on bonds is down. I think we only have 1 or 2 years left on the marina debt of the bonds that we took out, and they'll be finished.
The Green Acre, big Green Acre loan that was used to purchase the marina, 20 years ago, that was paid off last year.
So, and the marina is doing well, obviously, revenue-wise, and we're going to try to not borrow money for the marina and do it pay-as-you-go. So whatever projects we have, the revenue that they take in will pay for those projects instead of borrowing money for them. This is the debt service. Basically, this is what we're paying for bonds, notes, the green trust loan for water, sewer, and the marina, and then the general fund. I do want to point out that the debt ratio for 2020, the end of 2023, was less than 1%, 0.950. Last year it was 1.112. The borough has the ability to go up to 3.5% of the 3-year average assessed value. So our debt is very, very low, comparatively speaking. I know other towns, they're almost at 3.5%, which to me is crazy. But we're very, very low, under 1%. That's an exceptional debt ratio. And then Karen asked me to talk about this. Is there anybody here that doesn't know about the senior freeze? You? You never heard of it? Okay, it's a program that you're eligible for if you're over 65 and receiving Social Security, either over 65 Social Security or disability Social Security. You get a portion of your taxes reimbursed. There's a form you have to fill out, there's a booklet you have to fill out, it's the PTR. If you come to the municipal building, we can get you the book and explain how everything works. There are income guidelines for 2023. You cannot make over $163.50. So, I mean, the dollar amounts are pretty high. But this is the website that has all this information. And Bill, if you flip to the next one. These are the restrictions. If it's a vacation home or a second home, property that you rent to somebody else, property that consists of more than 4 units, or if you're in a pilot, which nobody here is, or if you're exempt from paying property taxes on your house from a veteran's, 100% disabled veteran, you wouldn't get reimbursed because you're not paying anything. But these are the only things that would, that would keep you from getting this reimbursement. And the income limit. So if you want to stop by Borough Hall, I can get you the paperwork and you can fill it out. They have to be turned in by June 30th, 2024. So, and that's it. Does anybody have something?
It's very easy. Maybe if tomorrow you could create a PDF of the presentation and then put it under the finance. There's a session there for presentations, and there were a couple there from, like I said, when I did it a few years ago. So you'll have, that way you can look at it. That's under departments, finance, and then the finance. It gives you a few days to get it on there, and you'll be able to access it. Look at the pages you mentioned. Well, we can pick up the copies. We can pick up the copies, stuff. After a few days.
No, the worst part is my copy machine, and Jenna will testify to this. Every time you print, it prints both sides. Why did you not print both sides today?
I can testify it does do that.
Uh,
I concur it does do
Yes, it
that.
does, automatically does it when you don't want it.
You could buy your box of papers on it, print on one side.
The introduction was April 4th. The adoption is, we have to wait between introduction and adoption, the state has to review.
Okay, my question goes back to the sheet on assessed valuation impact, where it gives the type of property and how many the town has in each category.
No, keep going, this way back, keep going.
That, am I reading this correctly, that from last year to this year, there's only been 10 additional properties, residential properties assessed in this town? It was 1941 and 1923, and 1951 in this year. Is that's this year to date, or is this running a year behind?
This is as of October 2023.
Okay, so from October 2022 to October 2023, there've only been 10 properties added to the tax roll.
That's what they're saying.
With all the building that's going on in town, how long does it take from the issuance of the CO to the tax assessor assessing the property? Yeah, you may not know. the
I don't
answer.
know the answer
That's
to
my
that.
question, because that seems like not a lot of houses in the year, given the building.
But were they houses that were existing that were knocked down? Yeah,
These are
New properties.
these are new
New
properties,
properties added.
not renovations.
Okay, so let's look at the valuations. The valuations have only gone up by $12,000. You mean to tell me that the 10
billion?
Let me,
12 million, okay.
let me tell you, I have that, with it. 2023, New construction, $9,487,985. Additions, $1,399,950. Alterations, $3,775,469. And demolition, $135,726, of a total of $14,799,130.
Now, what is that number? Is that
This is the
valuation
construction
or-
permit activity report for 2023.
So, I don't understand, what does the 14 million mean?
That's how much more of assessment went out for 2023 from what it was before.
Okay. Well, my question remains, and this is not a question that can necessarily, who do I ask this question of? From the time the CO is granted to the time that the property is reassessed, approximately how long is it, I mean, does it take, I'm sure it's more than a week, but I'll exaggerate. Does it take a week or does it take 2 years? I mean,
It's
what's,
sent to the tax assessor, and it's the next, they'll get a bill for the next tax cycle, prorated back to the time of CO.
Yeah.
Doesn't make a difference. It's from the date of CO.
right?
Yeah, they'll get a partial bill
Right.
for added omitted with their July taxes, and then the next year,
Yeah.
it'll be the full bill.
So it's the year or the quarter?
It goes
I'm sorry.
from the day of the CO. It gets prorated from the day of the CO
Right,
onto you'll get a white addendum bill,
Yes.
and then that's what you have to pay on your next quarter, from the time that bill is issued.
for the next quarter, but
Yeah.
that's not the next year. Okay.
And just to give you more statistics, last year, 2023, there were 234 permits issued, and updates to the permits were 108.
Is that 108 of the 234?
Updates, that means that when the,
Permit expires?
no, update means is that when you take out your permit, and just give you an example, just a hypothetical, say if you put in that you're putting in 14 outlets, and when the inspector went out, there's 16 outlets, that means your permit needs to be updated.
Okay,
Use a hypothetical on electrical outlets.
okay, thank you.
And for the time frame, you can ask Gary. So close to the tax assessor, he's there every Wednesday from 8 till noon.
Okay, thank you. I'm just curious, because there's obviously a lot of building that keeps going on in town. Thank you.
Thank you, Joyce.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. The next item is number 5. It's for information purpose only. And it's a discussion of a bill introduced in New Jersey Senate and Assembly establishing a occupational heat stress standard and occupational heat-related illness and injury prevention program. It's only for information purposes in our packet. It's pretty detrimental if it was passed. And just something for us to read through. Any-
Well, I think it's a brutal,
Yeah, it's pretty brutal.
it's bad. I don't know how towns, especially along the beach, who have like seasonal employees and things like that, if you actually read through it, how we can actually, it's almost a full-time job to manage what they're asking for in here the proper way.
It's pretty
And
expensive.
there's fines and everything if you don't.
I read it, I thought it was an April Fool's joke.
It's almost, yeah, that's exactly right. You know?
Nobody in the kitchen.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to work in a kitchen anymore.
Beach control.
Yeah. You know, it was sponsored by what, Union of Hudson County?
Yes.
Who, I don't know how many beaches they have, I'm sure they have some lifeguards, but, and pools. But it's just, I don't know how it'll be managed, even,
I don't think it would be possible.
our lifeguards or beach control people. Yeah.
Okay, next item, number 6, is for the work session. Discussion of a quote from Drager Inc. dated October 23rd, 2024, for the purchase of Alcatest, listed as Resolution 2024-128 for consideration at the regular meeting. You know what these are?
Yeah, it's just mandated by the state, the old Alcatraz machine is expiring and the new one has to be brought into service. So it's the one Alcatraz machine with some mouthpieces and whatever else. It's mandated by the state.
Is there anything else for council members?
Not today.
Not on the work session, no.
I'm going to open up to the public. Are there any questions on specifically on the work session from the public? I'm going to close that portion. I'd like to have a motion then to adjourn. If there's nothing else, we're going to the regular meeting.
I'll make them. Thank you.
Very good.
So we'll call the-
Call vote, please. Roll call.
Motion.
Councilmember Connor?
Yes, here.
Councilmember Kraft?
Yes.
Councilmember Anfield? Councilmember Condos?
Yes.
Councilmember Rotunda?
Yes.
Council President Wilk?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Take what, 15, 10 minutes?